Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Make sure to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content. So today we're looking at two brand new cards from the Amazement archetype. These are a bunch of cards that are both monsters, and you have traps that have different effects. The traps will have different effects based on whether they're equipped to your opponent's monster or whether they're equipped to yours. They'll tend to disadvantage your opponent whilst trying to benefit your own monsters. The first card is Amazement Assistant Delia. It's a level 4 light attribute machine type effect monster with 1800 attack and 1400 defense. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. 1. You can reveal 1 attraction trap from your hand. Special summon this card from your hand. 2. You can send 1 attraction trap from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard. Set 1 attraction trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. Okay, so this is a card that's very much necessary for how the deck likes to work. For starters, it can special summon itself instantly. You're going to be running most of, if not all, of the attraction traps, at least 1 copy of each. So more likely than not, you're going to have a mixture of these monsters and the traps in your hand. Being able to special summon is just an inherent thing that's necessary for how the game is. The secondary effect is actually where it's key. The ability to just get rid of 1 of your attraction traps, be it in your hand or face up on your field if it's no longer relevant or no longer suitable. That means you can select any range of different effects that happen to be the attraction traps directly from your deck and set it to your spell and trap zone. Of course, you can't use it on the same turn because it being a trap card means that's the massive downside, but then again, if this was to activate, you're waiting until your opponent's turn. It's not that big of a wait and not that big of a deal. Better to do that than it be forced into your hand and have a restriction on it where you cannot set it until your very next turn. The second card is a Maze Attraction Vanquish Viking. It's a normal trap card with the effects 1. Target 1 amazement monster you control, or 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and you equip this card to that target. 2. You can activate 1 of these effects based on the equipped monster's controller. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can negate the attack, and if you do, change control of the equipped monster until the end of the battle phase. Your opponent, when the equipped monster activates its effect, you can return it to the hand. Okay, so this is what I was telling you about the differences with the trap cards, that they have 2 different effects. The first part of the effect, don't worry about it. It's intrinsic to all of the attraction trap cards. They equip either to yours or your opponent's monsters. It's the secondary effect which is different. When it equips to your monster, the ability to negate an attack is quite decent. Think of it a bit like a specific archetypal version of Hero's Barrier, but actually better. It steals your opponent's monster until the end of the battle phase. So even if you just want it as a bit of a shield, that's something your opponent has to get over. If they want to try and get over your monsters and then try and get into a direct attack, they're going to have to sacrifice that monster that you've essentially taken until the end of that battle phase. Or you have the option of equipping to your opponent's monster. Potentially this is okay if your opponent has a quick effect type of effect, but if not, it's kind of useless. It's nice that it does have the versatility towards it, and the effects for you and your opponent are different. That's what makes these cards a lot more usable. Generally, I think both are improvements to how the archetype likes to work, and I definitely think you need to be running at least 2 to 3 copies of Delia, and I think 2 copies of this Vanquish Viking. I think that would be a nice ratio to cover.